he was obscenely tall. Taller than the kid you showed me.
Oh, really?
And longer. Yeah, it was absurd what he was doing on all the boulders. I was like, you're breaking my heart, guy. But also, it's super cool to see you do your weird tall guy beta.
Okay, well, I'm ready. I'm filming, and
Oh, perfect. So you got all that on camera.
oh yeah, exactly. I hope I'm in a frame as well. So we're here now at yeah, that's right. So we're here at Tallinn Boulder Boulder Festival 2023. It's a bit of a chaotic setting because we don't have half of our crew and we don't have the proper microphones, but we'll see how it goes. We'll just try.
Yeah.
And so we took this opportunity to talk to the Routesetters, and here are the three.
I guess that's us.
Yes, the three guest Routesetters. So I guess you can introduce yourselves. It's gonna be I think you're gonna be able to introduce yourself better.
Okay.
So you can just start.
Reverse order, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, my name is Olli Antikainen. At the moment I live in not in Helsinki anymore. I live in Sipoo. That's close, city close to Helsinki, or next to Helsinki. And yeah, I've been climbing somewhat 15 years, more or less. And I started climbing in eastern Finland, in a small town, small area. But when I moved to Helsinki for my studies, I started climb a bit more, and I've been routesetting for 10 years, approximately.
Well, I've read that you're a head routesetter at Kiipeilykeskus from your LinkedIn.
Oh yeah,
that's the or not.
Oh yeah. I didn't remember that I have a profile. Yeah. But yeah, that's
should
true.
update that.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, we have 4 gyms around Helsinki area. So I'm the head routesetter one of the gyms that is like close to center. So
which one is that? The big one, the first one?
No. It's like not the newest, but in between, like
the
Kalastama gym. Yeah.
One. Okay.
Yeah, which located in the shopping mall. And close to center. Yeah, it's bouldering gym, so I do mostly bouldering setting, but also somewhat for rope stuff, maybe once in a month, to keep it in touch with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Keep the sword sharp.
Yeah. Not too sharp, but yeah. That's about me.
Yeah, and the next one we've got Aleksi.
Yes.
Aleksi Mikkola.
Yeah, that's my name, and
So I know that you're a routesetter at Kiipeilykeskus as well.
yeah, it's a different gym. It's the I think oldest in Helsinki, first proper gym, Tapanila, and
Okay.
so it's mainly like ropes, and I mostly set ropes also twice a week, and also some boulder stuff, and it's nice to set some comps as well. So
Well, I didn't find your LinkedIn, but our KIVI has posted info that let's see what they said that you've been setting all the way from relaxed open comps to IFSC European Cup.
yeah, that's true. I've been to IFSC
Okay.
comps.
Well, that's going to be interesting to talk about.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
And our final guest routesetter is Steve Bouzas, I guess.
Yeah, Bouzas. Yeah.
Bouzas.
Yeah, that's me. Hey, I'm Steve Bouzas. Sorry, I'm very thirsty. Yeah, so about me. I'm from New York, but I've been living in Slovenia for the past year, which has been a really cool experience. I've been working for 360 Holds as a route setter, marketing, and doing random things every day, something new. been climbing since 2010 and route setting since 2013, something like that. I got into it, just started working at the local gym, started as somebody who just like came in and cleaned the whole gym at the end of the night. Then eventually I started working as a staff. I saw people putting holds on the wall. I was like, what's that? I want to do that. There was no opening. I bothered the owner for several months, and eventually he let me wash holds. And then that's kind of how I got into route setting. And
Yeah, I guess washing the holes is like the start for everyone.
for most people,
Yeah.
yeah.
But the other interesting thing, I guess, well, as far as I know, you've set the first beach at the, the dam, the Red Bull, how do you call them?
The Verzasca Dam, the
Yeah, the
Dual
Verzasca
Ascent.
Dam.
Yeah, Dual Ascent.
And I guess 360 holds, they used 360 holds there as well.
Yeah, 360. Simon and Katja are the brains behind the operation, and they basically figured out all the logistics for it. And they had the first one last year, and then this was the second one, so it was really cool to be part of it, be part of the process. Definitely the most unique route setting I'll probably ever do in my life,
Yeah.
and one of the most unique experiences I've ever had in my life.
Well, yeah, it's kind of interesting. I lived in Switzerland. I'm actually not exactly sure if it's the same dam. Do they only have like one dam?
I don't know.
Said it's like 180 meters.
Verzasca Dam is, I think it's actually 230 meters altogether from the bottom to the
Oh, yeah.
top. But the climb itself, 6 pitches, is 180 meters of climbing
Yeah.
for the event.
Yeah, it looks really insane. If somebody didn't see it, you should definitely Google it. I guess it's like, you can say one of the longest set sport climbs.
Yeah, I think it's the second one. The first one was the actual 360 ascent. So Simon and Katja found a tower, a water tower, I think it was. It's like 300. It's exactly 360 meters tall, which is like just meant to be. And they said it was like the hardest, sketchiest thing they've ever done in their careers, but also just like groundbreaking. It is the world record for the tallest.
Yeah, it's
man-made
kind
route.
of a new style of routes, like actually
Yeah.
sport route pitches.
Yeah, it's super cool.
But can you tell us how long does it take on this dam? How long does it take to set one pitch and to set like the whole route, for example, for those Red Bull?
We set one pitch usually took either 1 to 2 days. We were working in 2 teams, so one team would come in, work for about 6 to 8 hours in the morning, and then another team would come in late afternoon and work another like 6 to 8, maybe 10 hours. So a pitch could be done in a day, maybe 2 days. It took us about a month, a little over a month to set the whole route and the warm-up routes.
Crazy.
There's two warm-up routes that were half the length of that, so there were 3 pitches each. In total, yeah, we drilled like over 2,000, probably like more than 5,000 holes on the dam.
So it's gonna be leaking soon.
Oh yeah, there's a video on it on 360's Instagram. But yeah.
But you've been doing it from a platform. I think you kind of fixed the platform.
Yeah.
Up
So
and down.
yeah, there's a company called Vertical from Slovenia, and they put the platform on for us. They set everything up, and then we just come and work on the platform. It's super nice.
So just for the perspective, like took 1 month, even with the platform, it's like the most comfortable thing you can imagine. In this,
Yeah. We're not on ropes or anything like that.
Huge.
I would die if I was on a rope for that long.
Yeah.
There's no way with all those big holds and everything like that, and it would be a nightmare. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Logistically.
But I guess we can come back to the our comps here.
Mhm.
Now it's a second qualification group is climbing right now, and we're still to see the finals, which I guess is the most interesting part.
Depends.
Well, yeah, I guess. Well, it's just a little bit different style, like bigger routes and bigger holes and
More risk. They
the
have
best
couple
climbers
in it.
from here. It's
Yeah.
it's usually quite good. But actually, I've been always wondering how do you kind of set the correct grades of the routes, especially for the finals, because obviously you have to kind of know who's competing and who's coming, how good are those people, and how do you organize that?
You don't?
Olli. I didn't want to say it.
Yeah. Of course, well, you kind of need to know the level for the competitors. That's why there should be always somebody who's somewhat local, or at least know few of the competitors, or close what the level is at the top climbers. But it's a guessing game. It's difficult. And now, as we see their climbing and we see the results, I think we need to tweak a bit for the evening.
Oh, okay.
Like we still have time to do some minor adjustments or.
Yeah, so you're actually looking at the results as well and making adjustments.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
And we might have some like similar moves or similarities in the qualification round as it is in the final rounds, and we may or may not learn from the qualies to make some small adjustments for the
I guess,
training.
especially in Estonia, it makes a huge difference if people from Latvia come here to climb or not. It's going to be a huge difference in like how hard the finals.
Sure. And as today there's some ex-professionals like competition climbers, so it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah. Well, it's also going to be interesting because there are a lot of people from Finland, from Latvia, from Lithuania, and like there are some of the best climbers from around the area. So it's definitely going to be fun, the finals. So do you somehow kind of have a plan for the qualifications as well, of how hard the route should be, how many routes of like what grades and so on? Did you kind of plan it in advance as well?
Very, very loosely, I would say. We definitely we have to account for also like everyone who's climbing, so the whole field, not just who's going to make it into finals. So we definitely need enough for those people to climb and to be challenged though as well, and to have fun. And then so we have a general idea of how much we need for each group or category, and then we just kind of, once everything's set, we go through everything. And sometimes climbs will change in their order. We thought this one was hard, but actually it's not that bad, and this one actually that we thought would be easier is actually harder. We make adjustments, or we just switch them, and we kind of just, once everything's up, that's when we have a better idea of what the round looks like. And having a plan helps, but plans change.
Yeah, right. And how long does it take to prepare everything for competitions like this? So with the qualification and finals.
Well, we did it in 2 days, so 2 days.
It's like full days.
Two long days,
Yeah.
We started about 8:30, something like this, and then we go until the work is done for the night. Finals night we finished at 11 or 10:30, something like that. Actually, was not the worst finals night I've ever had.
No, not even close.
Especially for like setting 8 in an evening with. We started with 6 setters and then we ended with 4. At the end of the evening, so I think we did okay for circumstances. And then the red point round was, I don't know,
16 hours,
something like that. Yeah.
And for people who don't know how it goes, you kind of make the final routes for the finals in advance and kind of try them and then take them off, kind of noting where all the holes are.
Yep. Super fun. Ideally, we would have a separate wall just for finals, but you usually don't have that option.
Yeah.
Most gyms that you set competitions. So I guess what people usually do is that process: set finals first, mark them, take pictures, take them down, and then you set the red point round or the qualies round.
Well, I guess especially for the kind of festival style competitions like this ones, you want as much of the wall and as many routes as possible for the qualification.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Kind of hard.
Yeah, I know the climbers would want more. Me as a route setter, I'm like 35's enough. Yeah.
For the grades of the routes, do you actually, when you're setting the routes, do you actually have to be able to climb them yourselves, or is it possible to make a route which is harder than what you climb? Make it like a good route, which is harder.
Yeah, I think you should at least be able to do all the individual moves. At least or like be sure that they are like doable for that level.
It helps to have someone on the team that can at least. And then you, with your experience of the team, can collectively decide if from watching and getting feedback from, sometimes you have just one guy who's at the same level as the competitors that might show up, or girl, and they're super valuable, but realistically a lot of times it's the collective experience of the team that helps make that final decision of if it's too much, if it's not enough. Yeah.
And one question about the holds, as I guess you know a lot about the holds. So if there is what's the difference between some like really cheap hold and some expensive hold? And like if I buy like really expensive hold, how in which way is going to be different from something which, for example, I can Google and try to make myself?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Well, the material is a big thing, and like durability of the materials. For like, especially in the commercial gyms, where there's a lot of people, the quality of the material matters quite a bit. If it's kind of cheap and not so well done, it will wear out very fast, and like the foothold, for example, might be very polished and slippery after a month or two, and then it becomes quite dangerous to get more injuries because of the slippery holes.
All right.
But then again, like all the plywood volumes that we use also for the climbs. Shingo, the owner of the KIVI gym, he's been doing a lot of those, and the quality is really good. And I'm sure it's cheaper to do it by yourself if you have equipment and good materials
and knowledge of how to do it.
Yeah. And it's not the rocket science to make a nice little pyramid shape plywood.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's a lot of experimentation as well.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Materials and seeing how
the coating is a big thing. Like how does it feel? Does it have any friction or is it slippery? But depends.
And well, at least at 360 Hold's website, they've written. Well, we know that you used their holds on this Red Bull comp, and it said they're used on all sorts of big worldwide competitions and youth Olympics and stuff like that. And well, how do you get your holds to those big worldwide events? What you have to do for that? Do they have to be like of a certain quality and like?
Oh, I mean, that would be a better question for Simone and Katja. But from what I imagine is, when you have a good product, I think it speaks for itself and people want it. So whatever industry you're in, that's kind of like the rule of the game. The market speaks for itself and it dictates like what product has more value than others. And their product speaks for itself. I mean, their shapes can be simple, but they're, especially in competition setting, they're very, very useful. And you can use them in many ways. They're also very aesthetically pleasing because of the geometry that they use a lot of times and the symmetry of some of the holds. And I mean, Simone and Katja are both routesetters also by trade. They did it for many, many years on the on an international level. And Katja is also an international competitor. So I think when you're making holds, having a little bit of a route setting background helps, like not just being a climber, because when you're a route setter, you're like, oh, it'd be nice if I had this, or if this volume could stack on the other one like nicely or block, and so on and so forth. So Simone and Katja have put a lot of thought into their holds, and it speaks for itself. Yeah, and I think that's why route setters know what they like, they know what they want, and that's what they want at the World Cup, on the World Cup level. They request it, so.
Yeah, as far as I know, you kind of need to apply as a like whole manufacturer to IFSC European, or that what I think it goes. Like,
Yeah.
you need to apply to be a whole representative
Sponsor, yeah.
for the events.
Yeah, and they are that as well, for sure. But like as a route setter, unfortunately we don't have their holds a lot in the States. But since I've been at 360, I've really, I know I work for them, so it's biased, but I really enjoy all their shapes, and not just from 360, but from Lynx, Neo, Ready, Simple. They're all really well thought out. Each brand has something different that it does really well.
All right. Well, the next question is about IFSC. Well, how do you get to be a route setter at some IFSC comps? What do you have to do for that, and how much experience do you have to have?
There's like in Finland, there's this it was actually a route setting exchange system. So I got the chance to go there. So I work for free, but I get the experience, and then I have the possibility to like go more to the IFSC comps, and
Do you have
more
to?
experience.
Do you have to though apply to be like a national route setter for the federation?
Actually, in Finland, there's no
federation.
kind of system.
Okay.
The culture is quite small in
Yeah,
Finland, so every route setter knows.
Has an opportunity.
Yeah,
That's
that we
cool.
know each other quite a bit. And
So it depends on the country, I guess.
it depends on the country. I think in States
Greece is similar,
yeah,
but
but in the States you have the levels.
yeah, we have the
like
US,
national levels.
yeah, we have the USAC, so you have to be, I think, to even for the IFSC to even consider you to come set as a US setter, you need to be, I think, like level 4 or level 5. I could be getting that wrong because I've never tried.
What are those levels?
I'm a level 1 in the US, whatever that means. There's 5 levels. It's just kind of, it's a way to build experience in competition-specific route setting for youth events in the States. But it's there's a lot of setters in the States, and everyone wants to set on an international or national level. So it's a way to kind of, I guess, get people more comfortable or more experienced in competition setting, but it's quite competitive in the States.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So you could be route setting for 20 years and have a lot of competition experience and be like a level 1. Not that that's me, but I know setters in the States. Like the guy who taught me everything I know, he's an amazing route setter, super experienced, and I think he's level 1 still. He applied for his level 2, but he has like 30 years of experience route setting. So it doesn't totally dictate like how good or not you are. It's just also kind of luck of the draw.
So when talking about those levels, I guess the next logical question is how do you actually become better at route setting? How do you?
Well, I have no clue. No. The first thing I know is that every time I route set, I'm like, I have no clue what I'm doing. I think setting with more people. I think guest setting at other gyms, setting competitions, but realistically, like every time I set with new people, or I have the opportunity to do that, that's why I'm here today. That's why I came to Slovenia. That's why I travel, as much as I can, even if it's on my own dime, because I know the value in that, and so it's like an investment in myself. If I set in a room alone all the time, I'll never get better. I'll just constantly do the same thing. So it's really an exchange of ideas is where it really, for me, where I've grown as a setter, and lots of mistakes. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And for example, for those finals, in our previous interview, and like all the time you hear this that there is like a special kind of competition style bouldering route. So how is it different, the routes we're gonna see in the finals to the ones here in qualifications?
Not necessarily any way different. Like, sure, you have a bit more rooms to work with, as we have only eight boulders on the wall, you can do really like a long moves sideways, or just take a lot of room to play around. And now that we need to fit 35 boulders almost the same space, it will be much more narrow. But then again, in the finals, you have the best of the best, so you really can challenge them in many different ways. Either to take a bit more risk during the climb, or kind of need to challenge them in from every direction in different type of climbs.
So you actually have some sort of plan of like including some certain moves in the finals, and as many of those as possible, or something like that.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't want to give them
like
all.
that, yeah.
We don't want to give them all coordination dynos, and we don't want to give them all spicy slabs. We want to challenge the climbers, like Ali said, in many different ways. So the most well-rounded climber is the one that has the most success.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're really strong in crimping, then maybe there's one boulder for you, but then the others might challenge you much more. And if that's your only strength, then you might struggle in the finals round.
Yeah. All right. I guess I'll ask. Maybe a bit Kiipil specific question, because I've been climbing in Kiipil quite a lot, and one of the things I see in Kiipil is like grades are kind of really consistent. Because when you come to Estonia, you can climb like 1 month, and one grade is gonna mean one thing, and then in a month it's gonna float to space. The same number is gonna mean like much harder route. So grades in Estonia can float a lot. How do you keep the grades consistent? For example, within a climbing wall, well, generally consistent.
You don't.
Yeah,
it's a really hard job to do.
Yeah, grades are subjective, and for someone who's strong in crimps, it's going to feel easy, and for someone who it's their weakness, it's going to feel harder. But also, like with keeping consistency, I think a lot of times it really depends on your route setting team. So if you're at a gym that it has a solid route setting team, like full-time route setters, not just like part-time setters or guest setters, people just volunteering, then I think a lot of times you can keep a consistency, because everyone knows like what the benchmark is for the gym, and you know your general public a lot better. But when you have gyms where, like for here example, there's no like full-time setting team. I think there's maybe one or two. And
actually, I don't even know.
I think there's one, like I think Dan is like a part-time setter and Shingo sets, but then you have a lot of people coming in to fill the gaps. And so when that happens, you kind of, it's just more challenging, because they don't know the community as well, and for what this person is 6A, for another person it might be 6C or the opposite. So I think it depends a lot on the route setting team as well, but as far as hitting grades the same all the time, I think that's an impossible job.
Yeah.
Because even as you travel as a climber on real rock, you come to find that grades are all over the place. And one climbing area in the same country can be different than another, let alone from country to country. Yeah.
Well, I remember when I lived in Scotland, they had a system that every route they set, they kind of had a poll. They would just put it on the wall, and people could write what they think the grade is. I think that it's like
that's always fun. Yeah. I mean, there's value to that too, but also it comes to a point where it's, it can just be. I don't know. We had that at our gym, and people just started writing like silly stuff on. Like they started sandbagging. So something that we thought was. I don't know, hard, they'd be like, oh no, this is super easy, or the opposite, just to mess with the route setters, which I appreciate, yeah, but so everything with a grain of salt, just to enjoy climbing, enjoy the challenge. The grade doesn't really matter as much, to me anyway, personally. Yeah, I mean, it's our job to kind of do that, but it's subjective.
Yeah. In our gyms, as we have 4 gyms, so every gym has a head route setter, and it's kind of part of his or her job to keep it kind of in the range. But also we have a kind of flexible grading system, so we don't have exact grades, but it can be something in between.
Yeah.
In between something like
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I guess I've asked everything I wanted to know about the route setting, but it's always fun to ask people like how they started climbing. And I guess in your case as well, how did you start route setting?
Well, I started as like at the gym. I used to train a lot. The owner had a just like well, it was free. Like all the members could set free to the gym, like they own training routes or training boulders. So I started as just doing something fun for myself, and then at some point I realized I do quite a lot of the route setting, and then I asked the owner, could I get some money for that? And yeah, luckily at the time they were expanding the building a new gym, so they needed centers as well. Yeah, then I started part-time. Yeah, that's kind of my way. It might be quite similar as many has.
Yeah, I started. Yeah, in the same gym I started climbing 15 years ago. 5 years ago I started setting there. At the same time I started also working there. So the gym manager asked me if I would like to set some routes, because I've been climbing quite long, and yeah, and I started. I sucked at it at first, and yeah, then year after year I've been getting better. Yeah, that's how it goes.
Yeah, you're a pretty good route setter.
Yeah, but still lots to improve and learn. Always the case. It's nice to learn from others.
I think that's a beautiful thing about climbing and route setting in general. Like there's always so much to learn.
Yeah.
Well, you can always climb a bit harder, set a bit better, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
No ceiling for
Yeah. Something I've been like thinking about lately is because we're always like, if I was just stronger, but I've really been trying to focus on like being a better rock climber, because I've had a couple injuries in the past couple of years especially. So it's been frustrating to know where you've been and like to get back there. It could be like really mentally challenging. So I've learned to like let go of that, and now I've just tried to really focus on being a much more technical and better rock climber as much as I can. But what was the other question? How did I get into climbing?
Well, you can say first, how did you get into climbing, and then how did you get into setting?
Climbing was really random. I was I was doing like long distance races like trail running, and I went to Utah, Salt Lake City to train in the high elevation. The gym I was training at, a guy there was a climber, and he was like, "Yeah, you look like you're in good shape. You probably like rock climbing." And I was like, "I'm from Brooklyn. I have no clue I'm from the city. I have no clue what rock climbing is." And he was like, "Okay, when do you fly out?" I told him. The day I was flying out, he took me to climb like a 3-pitch trad climb. And I had no clue what I was getting into. He taught me how to tie a figure 8, how to tie in on the spot, how to lead belay, how to hand jam, and how to clean trad gear. And then I followed him up this 600-foot
nice start, because
rock climb
is quite scary.
I was shitting my pants the whole time. It was an amazing experience though. But then after that, it was so scary that I didn't climb for like 2 years. Because I was like, it's a cool story to tell people, but I'll never do that again. And then eventually I moved to Arizona, and I was going to motorcycle school. And my roommate, he climbed a bit. He's like, "I'm going to take you rock climbing." I was like, "No, we're not doing that." And then he's like, "No, you'll be all right." And he took me to a climbing gym. And I was like, I could do this. And so I started climbing in the gym a little bit. And then eventually I wanted to go back outside again. Yeah, that's kind of how it happened. And eventually I started working in the gym, like I said, just kind of cleaning and washing the gym. And then eventually I was given the opportunity to set a bit and wash holds. And I I fell in love. I never looked back. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll let you guys have your breakfast, and
That sounds
thank you for speaking to us and like telling me.
Thank you for having us.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to those finals and the routes and seeing people climb.
We're
It's gonna
not.
be awesome.
We're just scared.
Also, you're worried that the route's gonna be like too hard or too easy.
Always.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Always.
a pain in the like. So nervous.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh,
They're
that's
usually too
interesting.
hard.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, it's kind of interesting because everybody's talking that like, oh yeah, we've got like guest routesetters and the routes are gonna be perfect, so awesome. And
Oh.
you guys sitting here actually being like really worried.
Yeah. That's how it goes.
Yeah.
Okay, but we'll see.
Yeah, we will
We'll
see.
see.
Yeah, like Olli said, it's a gamble. It's just
Oh, yeah.
we're always gambling. Like even in commercial setting, you're like, oh, I think this will work. Will it work? And you don't know until you watch people climb. So on the competition scale, finals, it's just like a bit higher stakes.
Yeah, I guess because here we've got more routes, and at the end of the day, you can set like whatever grades, and people are more or less gonna like you're gonna see who's like better, who's worse. But in
Yeah.
the finals, there's less people with like very certain abilities, and they're like
Yeah.
better climbers. So I guess
Yeah.
it's a bit harder.
And not as many people will remember, like in a commercial set, like, ah, that bad boulder. But in a finals round, they won't let you forget it.
All right.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Well, thank you again.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Cheers.
All right, we have the setters here. We have the climbers here. I can see from their faces that they're ready, more than ready. But we need judges. Today we have two judges. We have here, let's bring here Thomas Holmberg and Kate Nurga, please. All right, and now before we start with the competition, they will have about 2 minutes with each problem to study and learn with the judges, and then they will go behind the curtains and we will start with the competition. So, judges, could you please escort the climbers